That was a really cool movie. Oh, wait, we're recording already? Okay. Hey everyone. Yeah, yeah, I just saw a really cool movie called, Rise of the Terrorizers. Dude, who knew that robots like that could be so freaking terrifying? I mean, then again, it's in the name Terrorizer. Dude, heck yeah. Anyway, hello everyone. Rex Calvin here, otherwise known as Rexinator97, and welcome to my movie review of Rise of the Terrorizers. So, this movie is promised to be the first part in a series of movies made by film director Robert, I forgot his name. Robert Donovan, yeah. Robert Donovan. So, Mr. Donovan himself said that he was inspired by cartoons he saw as a kid where there were robots, and I think the cartoon itself was called Titanium Terrors of Planet Mars, I think, or From Planet Mars. It was a short-lived TV series, but he absolutely loved it. And it inspired him to make this movie series, and it all starts with this first one, Rise of the Terrorizers. Now, the story is that a company called Omnitech, um, who was originally responsible for household appliances, remembered a glitch that happened to one of their appliances that caused mayhem and that caused people to massively distrust the company. And so as a result, they ended up going AWOL. And behind closed doors, they decided to create a new robot called, the Terrorizer. Because they were sick and tired of being slandered by people just because of that one mistake. But little did people know, this company already had insidious ideas from the very beginning of its inception. Because of this, if you put two and two together, Omnitech ain't good. Gee, am I glad they're not in my world. They're a fictional company in the movie, so don't worry, it's not actually a thing. Although they did do a promotion, and they're still doing it right now in places like the North Ridgefield Millennium Mall, and even places like Supermart, where you can get Rise of the Terrorizer merchandise, so like t-shirts and hats, maybe other kinds of apparel or posters, stuff like that. And you'll actually get some Omnitech memorabilia, which is really, really cool. And yeah, so I got some myself. It's put up right now, so that way people won't try and steal it, because yeah, people are crazy sometimes. Speaking of crazy, so not only did I get to see that movie today, but something really weird happened. So lately there's been this weird rise of people dressed as clowns hanging out near telephone poles and stuff. Or not, lamp posts, not telephone poles. And it's really freaky. I think I think I saw one today, like on my way home. Yeah. He only just had water balloons, so it didn't really hurt my paradox. If you don't know what a paradox is, gull wing doors and stainless steel combined to make the ultimate vehicle. I think my friend from an alternative dimension might plan on building one of those one of these days. I'll have to get in touch with him though. But yeah, so the story goes is that this company called Omnitech makes these robots called the Terrorizers, and it's their way of enacting revenge on the people who have wronged them because of that critical mistake in their machines that caused them to go rogue. And so because of that, the Terrorizers are then unleashed on the world. And at first it's kind of ambiguous who made them, until a group of resistance members eventually destroys one of the robots and sees a familiar logo. And so they try to get the word out, but people don't really believe them at first. But eventually word starts to get around and people are like, wait a minute, that logo does look familiar. And so eventually more and more people rebel against this company. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it, especially to my fellow Radical Earth civilians who happen to live in the same world as me. But what I will say is the movie is really good. I highly recommend it if you have the time. Yeah. Oh, and if you happen to live in the North Ridgefield area, like obviously I do, I live in North Ridgefield. Stop by the North Ridgefield Grand Theater, because, they have some really cool deets going on. Trust me. So, for one, if you buy a movie ticket from that theater for the movie, you'll get a very special reusable bucket for popcorn. And you'll also get a reusable cup. So it's like those plastic buckets and cups. And what's really cool is with those, you could get unlimited refills and all that other stuff. Not only that, but you'll also get some coupons for discounts on candy and stuff, which is pretty good. And, oh yeah, as a further tie-in to this movie, there's even a freaking arcade game of this. They call it Rise of the Terrorizers, The Resistance. I know it's kind of a quirky, weird name, but it's one of those shoot 'em up games. Or not shoot 'em up, it's, what do they call them? A shooting gallery game or something? It's one of those on-rail shooters where, the screen is constantly moving, so you have to, like, aim your gun around and shoot at the enemies and stuff. You could shoot at power-ups and ammo pickups and stuff like that. It's really, really cool. I actually tried it out while I was waiting to go see the movie. And I was very, very impressed, although I sucked horribly, but that's only because of the fact that I don't really play those games very often. It was really fun, though. But it is highly encouraged that you play with another person. I believe that the one I was playing was a 4-player variant where you could play with up to 4 people. You and 3 other friends. But there's also a 2-player variant, so it's a smaller cabinet. And it's to kind of save space. But it's really, really cool, though. Not only that, but there's already Halloween costumes for the Terrorizers. There's the Terrorizer costume itself, which is at the Hellraiser's Halloween shop. Huh. I don't know why, but that name kind of sounds familiar. Oh. Yeah, now I know. Anyway. Oh, right. Hey, Brandon, when you get a moment, you really need to start brainstorming on, what you want to do with that Halloween special thing you've been talking about. because you keep going back and forth. First, it was something called a back room or whatever it is. Then it was Venture. Kind of weird that he's using a game from my world. Then he decided to go original, and I don't know. I get that thinking about what you want to do for a Halloween special can be hard. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I just hope that he finds what he's hoping to work on. Because, trust me, I would be in the same boat as him, because I'm pretty creative myself. But, yeah. But I do hope that he does eventually find out what he wants to do for his Halloween special. Because this is his 5th time doing it. So I definitely hope that, sorry, I just got a notification on my phone. I certainly hope that he is able to figure out what he wants to do. Because, trust me, thinking of something you want to do for a Halloween special is hard. Alright, for TV channels and stuff it's easy because they just have, like, creepy episodes and whatnot of, like, TV cartoons and stuff. Yeah. Speaking of Halloween, so my entire town, believe it or not, is getting into the Halloween spirit. For starters, it's kind of it's kind of noticeable in my neighborhood, but there are some decorations being put up, and there's even a park that I live near, and they even have some decorations as well. And there's even going to be a Halloween festival thing going on called the Spook Fest. It's gonna be pretty cool. It is kind of targeted towards younger people, but they also encourage people like me and even adults to go because it certainly looks fun. They're gonna be doing giveaways. They're gonna have games. They're gonna have whole lot of activities and stuff. It's gonna be a whole lot of fun. Let's see what else. Oh, right. So I was talking earlier about the Millennium Mall in my city. Yes, that's actually the name, the Millennium Mall. It was literally made at it was opened at the very beginning of the millennium. I kid you not. I'm not even joking. But they're doing their own Halloween thing called the Malloween event. Yeah, real creative. I'm not trying to knock them for that. It's clever. I like it. It's a little cheesy, but it's the good kind of cheese. It's the good kind. But stores around the mall will have dedicated areas where people can trick or treat. Or not areas, but the stores themselves will be doing trick or treat kind of stuff where they will have buckets of candy for people to grab. You can't grab too much though because they want it to be fair. So they recommend at minimum just 1 piece of candy, but at maximum 3, just to make it fair. But if they do run out, they'll have plenty of bags of candy to refill their buckets, which is good. But they'll also have mall employees dressed as monsters like Frankenstein, a mummy, stuff like that. I've seen pictures on their social medias and stuff. It's really, really cool. Oh yeah, Supermart's getting into it as well, because Supermart, which in your world I think it's Walmart, I think. Anyway, so in Supermart, they have a very cool Halloween event going on where you could show up to the store dressed in your best Halloween costume, and you don't even have to buy it either. You could make your own Halloween costume. You can make it like based on a video game character. You can make it like a completely original costume. And they're having a costume contest where the best costume will get. I think there's a cash prize. I think. Uh. Oh right. First place gets 100,000 REs. Second place gets 50,000 REs. And then third place gets 25,000. Which is actually a really good deal. So may the best costumer win. I don't even know if that's even a word. But it sounds like fun. Yeah. I can tell you right now, though, so they're going to be doing this throughout the month. So their first contest of the month will be this weekend. They didn't do it last weekend because Halloween had just started. So people didn't really have the time to start getting ready because yeah. It was also just because of the fact that they had just started getting Halloween stuff set up over at the store precisely on the first day of October, so they weren't quite ready to do the costume thing yet, but now they are, and it's going to be tomorrow. But they're going to be doing it all throughout the month, so the last day they're going to do it is literally on Halloween. But not only that, but even if you're not entered for the costume contest, which you do have to sign up for it, there's no entry fee though. It's just you sign up on a list and they'll have a sort of mini contest to see who would be qualified to be on the top costumes, and it's sort of like a tournament where people in costumes will basically go head and head in terms of like, wait, no, head to head, not head in head. Head to head in terms of whose costume is the best. And whichever costume is the best will advance until eventually they'll have the final three. And so finally they'll judge whichever costume is the best, which is always cool. Yeah, so that'll be cool. But what I was going to say to those not looking to participate, if you're just there wearing a costume, feel free to have a bag or a bucket for candy, because they'll have certain employees at Supermart handing out candy. And they'll even have little games, like in the electronics section, they even have prizes where you can win games, and yes, actual games, not board games. Now, if you want to win board games, just go to the toys and board games section. Anyway, yeah, so what I was trying to say is, in the electronics section, you could win stuff like games and electronics. Sorry about that. It's just, I kind of slept late last night, and then, or not late, I went to sleep late last night, and I woke up initially at like 7 something, and then I went back to sleep after I put my phone next to me, and I woke back up at like 8 something. I had a pretty decent sleep, but, you know, it is how it is. Let's see. So the prizes for the games that you play are dependent on how well you do. So if you get the lowest possible score that qualifies for a prize, you'll get to choose from whatever video game you want, whether it be maybe for a Protendo system, or maybe for a Megasoft system, maybe a Saiba system, Cosimo, or even a PC game. Any of those will be whatever you can choose from. Then we have the second tier of prizes, which will be a mouse and keyboard bundle, maybe a gamepad for no, not a console or a PC, because as you know, PCs can also use gamepads. It's a different connection port than the consoles, but you know what I mean. So we have the peripheral bundles. The third prize tier is let's see. Oh, right. So the third tier is actually the top tier. And from that, you'll actually be able to win a computer, a game console, or just, actually, yeah, PC or a console of your choice. For the toys, it's kind of the same thing, only it's like, for the prizes, you'll get like a low value toy, a medium value, or a high value, or, low, medium, or high value board game, stuff like that. They won't do this kind of stuff for food, though, because, like, you don't want to win food, you want to buy it for your family, right? Or are you trying to do a competition for a slab of ham, But they will be doing stuff for the auto center where you can get special discounts and deals for eco vehicle services. So maybe like a free oil change. No, not oil. I think I just got confused with your world. Because our vehicles don't run on oil. They have a specific... So, eco vehicles get their name because they don't use actual oil. They use eco fuel, which is a very specific mixture of water, and there's a special chemical that makes it actually become a fuel. It's not flammable and it's not toxic, but it does have a naturally really, really, really bitter taste. I've actually tasted it before on a dare. Never doing that again. But essentially, eco fuel itself does still have the same smell as your guys' gasoline. You know how gasoline would have that very distinct smell, like you're always near a gas station? Yeah, same thing here with eco fuel. The only difference, however, is that it's not flammable or toxic in the environment. So because of that, it's called eco fuel because it's literally an eco-friendly type of fuel versus gasoline. And it's not electric either. It's literally just a liquid type of fuel that's not gasoline but still just as effective. But in terms of the replacement for oil, they use a substitute in our world. Only it's not called a substitute in our world. They call it what do they call it? It's funny because I have a few eco vehicles myself. One of them is actually outside. It's my Paradox, my all-time favorite eco vehicle of all time. But I also have a Comet. In your world, you would call it a Corvette, I think. Very nice car. I have a Maverick Phantom, which is, in your world, it would be a Mustang. I do know that in your world there actually is a car called the Maverick, or actually two different kinds of Mavericks. There's the truck and then there's the coupe. But in our world, our Maverick is essentially your Mustang. But the one I have is called the Phantom. And in your world, it would look very, very similar to the, what do you call it, a Mustang Cobra, I think? It's that one car that came out in the 90s and the early 2000s. Yeah, it looks similar to that. It's very, very beautiful. Um, and the third eco vehicle I have is a very special one because I won it in a prize pass giveaway, and that would be an Andretti Monaco GT. Well, actually, it's the GTSP. I think Brandon might have done a. I think he calls it a Radical Builds stream. Yeah. He made a replica of how it would look like. It's not 1-to-1, but it's very, very close. It's a very, very beautiful car. And I should also say that yes, the roof is removable. It's actually convertible. It's, uh, I think other people call it cabrio. Um, but it's really, really cool. Um, anyway, so, yeah, so we have the replacement for gas in our world is eco fuel, oil, trying to remember what it's called because I myself am not a mechanic, but I love the eco vehicles here. We also just call them cars because I mean, calling them eco vehicles every second that we talk about them is weird. But we just call them cars because that's literally what they are, cars. But I'm not much a car mechanic. Like I love cars, but I'm not, you know, I'm not adept in actually working on them. I know how to drive them, but I am not a mechanic by any means. So I don't know what exactly that. It's not oil though. It's not because, like I said, eco vehicles get their name because they're eco-friendly, while still having a similar kind of fuel to gas, but without it actually being gas. Um, Trying to remember. Hmm. Yeah, they call it the power fluid. No, not power. um, uh, Dang it. Yeah, they call it the primer fluid. That's what it is, not power. Um, so we have the eco fuel itself. We have the primer fluid, which you have to make sure that you have plenty of it, or else if there isn't any primer fluid in the primer tank, it's going to start overheating, and you do not want that at all. um, anyway, so enough about the eco vehicles. Although I was still talking about what you could win from the auto center part of uh, Supermart. Now, I should also say that they only do this stuff during the weekends in October. Um, but you could win a free primer change, uh, tire checkup, um, let's see, damage repair, um, headlight repair, stuff like that. The typical stuff you'd see in an auto center, likely in your world as well. Only with the absence of eco fuel and primer fluid. Instead, it's just gasoline and oil. Anyway, yeah, so we have the electronics section where you could win stuff. We have the toy and board game section. You could also win bikes, like actual bicycles, in that same section because they're close and bundled together. Auto center section. Let's see. Pharmaceutical and beauty section. You know, where they have the beauty products. You could win, like, bundles of stuff, like beauty products and stuff. Like, it depends on what you identify as. Because here in Radical Earth, we don't judge who you are. Unless you're, like, a despicable person against humanity. Like, you're just truly evil. But in terms of just actual average people like me, we don't judge. We don't judge if you're gay, straight, bisexual, trans, anything like that. And that's the way it ought to be, you know? We should treat people with respect around here. I've learned that growing up. Heck, I've always grown up by that principle. Anyway, yeah, so, sorry if that got slightly political. I literally do not like talking about politics, even though it's very much important. Trust me, in your world, I know exactly what's been going on. I have been given blow-by-blows every single day by my friend Brandon. Anyway, let's see. Trying to remember. Right. So they also have a dedicated prize game thing, like the ones I've been talking about for the Halloween stuff. You could win stuff like bags of candy. Let's see what else. Costumes and costume accessories, decorations for your house and stuff, you know, stuff like that. I should also say that they do this as a seasonal thing where during a certain season of the month, not the year, not the month. So like for example, with the holidays within striking distance, you could bet your butt that they're definitely gonna have some Christmas stuff, and Thanksgiving as well. There's definitely gonna be some Thanksgiving stuff. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Now back to the movie. I have to say it was really, really good. The acting was top notch. The film direction was really good. There were a few lighthearted moments, but that was only when the action wasn't so tense. Like when there were moments of serenity. But whenever it came to the action, it was just chef's kiss. I know that probably sounded like someone trying to like suck on something, but that was a chef's kiss. It's a weird chef's kiss. But dude, the visual effects in that movie are freaking awesome. Got really cool explosions, you got laser guns, you got machine gun blasts, stuff like that. It was so freaking cool. And I remember in the theater when we saw really cool moments in the movie. And it was a part of a movie where the people fighting against the robots won a battle. People just erupted in excitement. They were like, "Woo!" And normally you're not really supposed to do that in the theater, but literally everyone in the entire theater room I was in did that. And the theater staff themselves actually stopped by, and whenever they saw why people were cheering, they eventually understood why. And so, what's funny is a few of the theater staff themselves were off duty because the thing about the theater is they have a surplus of staff members. So sometimes some staff members who are already there will be will be off duty until their shift begins. And so soon enough, those people started cheering with us because they were watching from like the little side areas where you enter the theater from. And we were like, woo, yeah, yeah, get 'em. And then like whenever there was a really big moment, like, something crazy happens, we're like, whoa, it was so freaking cool, dude. It really was. Now, as for what character I like, because online people are like raving about what characters they like. Some people like the rogue, which is a Terrorizer that defects from the actual group of machines and joins the humans, which is really cool. It happens really early in the movie, like basically at the beginning, so it's not really much a spoiler. It's literally within the first couple of minutes of the movie. But as for me, my favorite character is probably the leader of the Resistance, Jake Dallas. He is so freaking cool. And I know the ladies are really into him. I don't blame him. He has the dashing good looks. Got that bandana on his head. You got the buff looking arms. I mean, he's not super muscular, but he's muscular enough to where it's noticeable. He's got that rugged good look. He looks like he could probably like raid a temple or something. He just looks cool, Some people really like the female mechanic. I think her name is Tracy. I forgot her last name. Tracy Lance. Yes, Tracy Lance. Some people really like the brains of the group. Taylor Montague, yeah. He was pretty cool as well, but undoubtedly my favorite is literally Jake Dallas. Man. And don't even get me started on the actor behind Jake Dallas. Tom Vander. Tom Vander is absolutely a legend in his work. But becoming the young resistance leader is amazing. Seriously. And he's an 18-year-old. Just fresh out of high school, but growing up he really loved acting. He watched movies, stuff like that. So naturally, like, whenever he came of age, he lived on his own, and he was contacted by the creator of the movie, and I forgot the guy's name. It's been such a long day, so I apologize if I forget stuff a whole lot today. It's been a long day, a lot of stuff happened. A lot of good stuff, actually. Oh, right. I forgot his name. It was Robert Caldwell. That's what his name was. Yeah. I might have said something different earlier, but yeah. Again, long days tend to do that to me, especially when they're like full of stuff that goes on. But Robert Caldwell did an amazing job directing this movie, finding the perfect cast, finding the perfect film people to film all the scenes, do all the visual effects, do all the music, all that other stuff. Oh man, it was so awesome. Ah. And yes, they were already working on a second movie. We don't know the name of it yet, but they said that it's going to be ready probably late next year. Um, but they might have to delay it because it's going to be a very ambitious movie sequel. Um, but yeah, so um, yeah. That being said, I think before we go, um, there's a mosquito. Hello, mosquito. I don't know. Oh. Um. So, speaking of movie theaters, Brandon told me a little bit about this place right here. So, yeah, that looks cool. Um, yeah, so, he told me about this place recently. Um, hmm? Wait, what? No way. Hold on. Do they have a website? Okay, so I should say that Brandon also told me that this place is aiming to be opened by possibly December, which is nice. He also told me that whenever he goes there, he's definitely going to tell me how it is. But it's really, really cool. Um, and personally, like, although I live in a different version of y'all's world where everything is different, but it's still somewhat the same, uh, I'm still very much excited though. Um, yes, I say that even though I'm using Google, I'm using a special operating system called Wormhole, where it'll allow you to see the other Earth's stuff, I guess. It's difficult to explain, but basically, what happens is there's a server on Earth run by the Wormhole operating group. And what it does is it transmits all the data online from y'all's world. So, like, all the data necessary to show all the pages and stuff related to the internet for y'all to our world. And as long as someone has the Wormhole operating system in Radical Earth, like I am, we'll be able to basically run, I think you call it Windows 10, on our PCs, which is, it's a little weird, it's a little alien, but it's pretty cool. Um, yeah, so, it's definitely something. Um, but I'll tell you what, though. Brandon did say that this coming Monday, should the weather hold up, he is planning on walking kind of near here, like where this place is, and he's gonna try and take pictures of what's going on, or at the very least, just talk about it. It should be nice. It should be nice. Anyway, yeah. So oh. Anyway, dang, I can't even think about what to say next, like at all. What's that? It's like a photosphere. Oh. From what Brandon has told me, this place is no longer there. It's now a pool care place. Why am I having voice cracks? Then again, Brandon also has the same problem, even though I'm younger than him. So, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, so, oh, actually, I should probably look this up for Brandon, because he loves this place right here. He's never been here, by the way, but he loves this game development team, partially because of a game that he remembers playing, actually around 10 years ago at this point. This December will be 10 years. But there's a game that he used to play called, what was it? Wait. What the heck is a PlayStation? Oh. Never mind, I just looked at a picture that he sent me. But it was a game called PlayStation Home. I think is what he said it was called, yeah. So we have a game that's kind of like that, only it's more like a virtual world style online service, but it has gaming aspects to it. And we call it Networld, and it's made by Megasoft. And essentially what that is, it's a virtual world where you have your very own character you can create and customize and all that other stuff. You could get home worlds, and you could go to different worlds, different places to go to, stuff like that. PlayStation Home, though, is, according to him, it had its own identity. So, it should be interesting. Again, I should also say that in my world, we don't have a PlayStation. We have a company called Cyba, but in comparison to your world, Sony, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, Sony. They don't make stuff like that. Like Sony does for your world, but Cyba, they don't. I'm not saying that's a bad thing either. It's just how they do. But the actual company that does the big innovations and all that stuff is Megasoft, which is actually, believe it or not, the largest tech company in Radical Earth. So that's pretty similar to Microsoft in your world. I don't know why they're called Microsoft. They're a huge company. I mean, Megasoft, it makes sense because they're always making strides, like major strides. And mega comes from them being a mega conglomerate. You know, always doing mega big things, you know? Also, whoa, that looks cool. Yeah, so. Anyway, he wanted me to see this just to see what it looks like. See if there's anything new. Obviously, I can't really tell. There might be. Maybe. Maybe? He also wanted me to look at stuff. I'm gonna turn on my fan real quick. Also, Goat Simulator. Why does he want to be a goat? Yeah, that Brandon always being weird. What the heck is a goat simulator anyway? Oh, it's a video game. Ah! There's a bug right in my face. Anyway, let's see. You wanted me to check on this for something. I find kind of weird because neither of us are even from Europe. I mean, we have European blood, but we're not European ourselves. I think that's what he wanted me to search up. Because he wants me to see if there's anything new in terms of whatever these are. I think they're trademarks. He already told me about this. This is nothing new to him. I mean, it is, but, you know. What about here? Let's just say he's giving me a blow-by-blow for how to see this stuff. Nope, nothing new. What about that other thing? A Soho engine? The heck is that? Huh. Okay. Weird. Anyway, no. Hold on. What's their website look like? Oh. Oh, what the? Huh. Oh, cool. Huh. Sure wish we had that. I mean, we have Megaplex for Megasoft stuff, but, you know. Oh, that looks cool. Um... Hmm. Hmm. Man, this PlayStation thing seems pretty cool. I wish I had one. uh, although, then again, I have heard that getting one of those, uh, this thing, I think that's that white and black thing that he has. Yeah, I've heard that's kind of hard to come by sometimes. Anyway, before I, jabber on and on and on, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream here because I'm kind of tired. I just want to relax. I'm sure Brandon has stuff he wants to do as well. Something about some kind of headset thingamabob. Yeah, I don't know. Isn't it called like virtual reality or something? Yeah, I've heard about that in my world, but I haven't gotten into it yet. I've heard that Megasoft is planning on doing something like that. Maybe. Hopefully. Because that would be really cool, because apparently it's going to be a standalone, I think. I think that just means that you could use it without any external devices like a computer or game system or whatever, which is cool, because that's exactly what Brandon has. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me if you did. If you haven't, then that's okay. Anyway, this is Rex Calvin, aka Rexinator97, and I will see you guys later. Also, don't worry about the 97, that's just a name. Yeah. I think it's actually a tribute to a car that came out that year. Because there was a car called the Rex that came out in 97. And I think my dad got it. And whenever I was born, he named me Rex. And my mom thought it was pretty cool because she happens to really like the car as well. Anyway,